Did Moshe Rabbeinu, Dovid and Shlomo Hamelech learn Chassidus?
The one-word answer is yes. The complicated answer is, it's like if I asked you, did Moshe Rabbeinu, did Shlomo Hamelech, Dovid and Shlomo learn Kabbalah? Of course the answer is yes. But you see, what makes a body of knowledge what it is two things. It's the content and the substance, the ideas, the light, if you will, and the form, the language, the construct, the images, and so on. Kabbalah is form, right? Kabbalah is full of form, spheres, oilamais, partsufim, and so on and so forth. These forms carry the light of Kabbalah, the ideas and the spirituality that Kabbalah communicates. And the forms are necessary so that you and I should be able to relate to the light and to the ideas. If we didn't have the form, it would totally escape us. But when we learn Kabbalah, we mustn't be distracted by the form or contained by the form. We have to see the light. And as you know, that it says in Sherish Mitzvah Tefillah, in the end of Perek Beis, one of the most remarkable things, that the Baal Shem Tov said not to learn Kabbalah, because people have a problem. What that means is that when people study Kabbalah, they're busy with the form, and they have a difficulty appreciating that the form is simply a vehicle or a medium or a metaphor, and you're supposed to understand the oil, the light, the ruchnius. In a similar way, it's true of Chassidus. Chassidus has a body. Chassidus has a language. Chassidus has a form. To a great extent, to a considerable degree, a lot of the form and the language of Chassidus is the same as the form and language of Kabbalah, but Chassidus has its own language. Or, to say it differently, Chassidus borrows a little from many different languages, some from Kabbalah, some from Medrash, some from Tanakh, some from Chakira, some from Musar. But each one of these bodies of knowledge is distinctive, is what it is, because it has its own unique form, its own unique ideas. If a human being could know all the ideas without the form, did they learn Kabbalah? If a human being could know all these ideas without the form, did they learn Chassidus? That's the way Chassidus, the Moshe Rabbeinu learned Kabbalah, the way Dovid and Shlomo learned Kabbalah, the way Shlomo Hamelech learned Kabbalah, and the way they learned Chassidus too. In other words, their level of understanding of the Torah was so abstract, was so high, that they studied the Tanakh, they studied the Chumash, the Mikra, and however they had Torah Sheval Peh at that time, and they saw the Oyer, the enlightenment, the spirituality, which would later emerge as Chochmas HaKabbalah, and even later than that emerge as Oyer Torah Chassidus, but they saw it before it took on a form, as it was part of the light. You know, there's a letter from the Rabbi, which is a response to something that someone wrote to the Rebbe, where this person wrote that Eliyahu Hanavi taught Kabbalah to the Arizal for 7 years. Achi Ashilon, he was the teacher of Eliyahu Hanavi, taught Chassidus to the Baal Shem Tov for 10 years. And this person was trying to suggest that from these details we know that Chassidus is higher than Kabbalah, that Chassidus involves Chabad, not just the 7 Midas, and that it's a generation closer to Matan Torah. And the Rebbe, if I recall correctly, didn't directly react to what this person said, but he indicated that he agreed with the spirit of what this person was saying. So, to be most bold, I would argue that the beginning of the form of Chassidus is Achia Sheleni. The beginning of the form of Kabbalah would be Eliyahu Hanavi. The people who came before had those lights, had those ideas, had that enlightenment, but they didn't need a form, and they therefore didn't have the form. And to say what I'm saying using a different model, I'll share this with you. This is in Chassidus, explicitly, in my modem. And the simplest way to present it is to say this. We have the Merkava of Yeshaya, Isaiah. Yeshaya, I think, is Perek Zayin. And the Merkava of Yecheskel, which is in Yecheskel Perek Aleph, and I think Perek Yud. The difference is the Merkava of Yeshaya is a few psukim and says very little. Merkava Cheskel, I think, is 27 psukim. It's very, very long, and it's really the earliest form of Kabbalah. It's biblical Kabbalah. And the Maimonides Chassidus say, and the Chazal already say that Yeshaya was like a ben Krach Shareyas HaMelech, and Yecheskel was ben Kfar Shareyas HaMelech. In other words, Yeshaya was comfortable with a lakus, like a city dweller. Yecheskel was not comfortable with a lakus. He was like a villager who was visiting the king. And therefore, when a person who's not comfortable with the king meets the king, he describes the palace and all the furniture that the person who's comfortable with the king doesn't pay attention to because he's focusing on the king. So Chassidus says that the earlier Nevi'im saw a lakus so clearly, Bas Baklari Amira, that they didn't see anything around. They didn't see the malachim, they didn't see the elamas, they didn't see the form. They didn't see what you and I would call the Kabbalah. So they talked just to the point. And therefore Yeshaya's Merkava is very concise, saying almost nothing, because when you see Hashem so directly, you don't pay attention to the furniture. Chizkiyahu was on a lower level, and you didn't see Elikus so clearly. It was a state of Aspaklaria She'ena Me'ira, and therefore you pay so much more attention to the furniture, and we have so much form. And of course, Chassidus points out that that's a great gift, because for us, we need the form, we need the expansive form and description found in Merkava Yecheskel, and then some, to bring these mystical and spiritual ideas to us in the body of Chochmas HaSoyid, Chochmas HaKabbalah, and then later on in Pnimis HaTeira and Chochmas Chassidus. But the people before knew this without needing the form. So they had whatever it is that Chassidus has, whatever the Kabbalah has, as part of Torah, Glat, Bepashtus. And like I said, perhaps you could argue that the beginning of the form of Chassidus would be Achia, and the beginning of the form of Kabbalah would be Eliyahu. But I'm just saying that to give construct to my answer, and I would agree that I'm supposing something that I really should not suppose.